Welcome back to Two Trees in a Pod with Alyssa and Sam, where we talk about all things life and relationships and tie it back to faith. I'm Alyssa.
And I'm Sam.
And today we are so excited to talk about why you shouldn't waste your weight. Let's get into it. Welcome back, potters, trees. We don't really have a name for you guys, but...
Our two loyal listeners.
Our two loyal listeners, Mom and Dad. Anyways, I think I just maxed out the volume on the audio. Sorry about that. So we are excited to have another episode today, and we're talking about waiting. So we kind of wanted to touch on waiting because we feel like we're always waiting for something. I said in another previous episode, probably a million times because I love this quote, you are always, before making a major decision, in the process of making a major decision or change, or have just made a major decision or change. So unless you're in that little process period, which, I mean, even if you're in that process period, you're still in a period of waiting. We are always waiting for something. And that's why we think this topic is so relevant to bring it to the table today. And we want to help you figure out what God is teaching you in the waiting period. I think I'd like to open with a verse. How's that sound, Sam?
Sounds fantastic.
Have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might he increases strength. Even youths shall fall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted. But those who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Isaiah 40:28-31. Waiting gives you strength, and we're going to kind of lead into how you can get there through God's help. So, should we do a little catch-up before we get in?
Yeah, we'll do a quick catch-up. How has your week been?
Gravy. Can you guys hear Gravy? He's scratching. Enough. Well, my week's been great. It's always great when we have a feral cat running around the microphone. But I got a new job.
Oh, do tell.
I am coaching volleyball at the University of New Hampshire. Most people know by now, so we're dropping it on the pod.
The coach has officially announced it, which means Alyssa is now allowed to share.
I'm allowed to talk about it, and, sorry guys, I'm wrangling the cat. We might have a Gravy meow, since I'm holding him now. Gravy's first appearance on the pod. But yeah, so I got offered the assistant coaching position at UNH, one of my alma maters. And, oh, that was a cat. That wasn't a person. We are going to have an angry kitty cat on the podcast today. So, he's probably going to eat in the background, but
that's okay.
We're going to push on.
Gravy food ASMR.
ASMR.
While we learn about waiting.
Yes, we are waiting for Gravy to settle down, but then we realized he will never settle down, so we just might as well get on with the episode. Anyways, I got a new job. I'm really excited about it. Gonna be traveling a lot, but, you know, I'm always doing that. It's like I'm not missing a beat, so.
It's just a normal fall for us at this point.
Just a normal fall. Any life updates, Sam? Just chilling?
Not too much. I found out that I get to continue my career as a volleyball fan, so that was very exciting news.
You're going to continue no matter what.
But now I have an excuse, so it's great.
So I think that kind of whole situation with the coaching job kind of inspired us to talk about waiting. At least it inspired me to bring it up. I don't know what inspired you to bring it up, big guy, but...
Well, I was unemployed for 6 months earlier this year, so I went through a long period of waiting.
Trauma!
I'm something of an expert in waiting. I wouldn't say trauma.
It was kind of traumatic.
I would just say it was a lot of waiting.
It was a lot of waiting. My waiting period was a lot shorter than yours. What I've found is that God knows that I can't handle the wait. Because I always feel like I have these really long waiting periods, and it feels so long in the moment, but then I look back on it and it was literally a week and a half. So, I think that this past waiting period I handled better than other waiting periods in the past. And I think that's because my relationship with God has gotten stronger, and I recognized the purpose in making me wait. Like, God doesn't just let you sit around waiting for no reason. It's because he's working. It's because things need to happen in order for him to move. Like, oh my goodness. Guys, we have a serious issue with this cat today. Anyways, on to the wait. God uses waiting to show that he is in control. So, why do we hate waiting so much?
Because we see something and we want it now. And in today's day and age with technology, it's never been easier to get things instantly.
And we're in control of all that instantaneous nonsense, aren't we?
So we think.
So we think. We hate to wait because we're control freaks. At least that's why I hate to wait. I hated to wait on hearing about my decision, or UNH's decision on my employment, because I want to be in control of my career. When I already surrendered my career to God months ago, so not sure why I was hating that wait when God was moving the whole time. But it's just human of us, right? Like, we want things now, we want it to happen our way, and we don't want to wait on anybody. The thing with waiting is that we are only able to see the here and now. Like, we can only see the present, and we can reflect on the past. We have no concept of what our future really looks like. We can plan all kinds of things, and we can white knuckle our 5-year plans on our lives, like with that grip. But God already knows what's to come. He already knows. And that's because he exists outside of the boundaries of time, and he can see everything from beginning all the way to the end. So your wait to God is so minimal in terms of eternity that it's like, I don't know how to say it other than it's just not a big deal. Even though it feels like a huge deal.
When you can come to that mindset, everything also gets a lot easier, because it's, okay, well, this part of my life feels like it's on hold, but it's actually making progress every single day, and there's a perfect plan laid out. You just don't know all the details yet.
I like this quote. When we are waiting for something, our perspective is like looking at a tiny grain of sand on a seashore, right? Like, imagine the entire East Coast, how many little grains of sand there are. Your waiting period is one of those grains of sand. God has the entire beach, the entire coast, all the beaches in the world in his mind, because he's already written that story. And all we can see is that one tiny grain of sand. I kind of feel like so small when I put it like that. But also, like, there's power in that insignificance. It's not that it's insignificant, but, like, there's so many other things happening outside of your wait that your wait, like, is okay. If that makes sense. I don't know. Sam's tired today, guys. Can you hear how quiet he is? It's a Monday for us. Happy Tuesday to you guys, but it's a Monday for us, and Sam's cranky.
I'm not quiet. But that's a good perspective to have on not, like, life is not insignificant, but when you take it from the perspective of, oh, you're the center of your own universe, sure. But
You-centric.
But in the grand scheme of everything, realizing that you're not the center of everyone else's life, not even a main character in most people's lives.
You're main character in God's life.
Exactly. You are the main character in God's life. And your relationship is the most important one. And when you realize that and focus on that, all the other things, they don't matter as much. And that's a good thing.
I think, so someone asked me at work today how I define happiness, really big psychological question. Where I work, we have chaplains who go around and just ask you deep psychological questions to see how you're doing. It really pulls you out of your vibe of Excel. Of grinding Excel, and someone just asks you how you define happiness.
Hi, can you do a VLOOKUP? Sure, can you tell me the meaning of joy?
Literally, guys. That's literally how it goes. But she asked me the meaning of happiness, and the first thing I thought of was being happy in the mundane and being happy in the day-to-day life. Like, what is your state of mind when you're waking up and making your bed? Or when you're picking up after your toddler or your toddler-esque feline friend who ruins everything? What is your mindset doing when you're doing the dishes? Sam's favorite analogy.
You bring it up more than I do now.
Because I think it's funny. But you know what I mean? Like, how content are you in the present? And we talked about this at the beginning of the episode. We're always waiting on something. But that true happiness and that peace comes from knowing, hey, I'm not in control of this. This is God's battle to fight for me. Like, it's already won. No matter what the outcome... Oh, Gravy just jumped on his cat tower and missed. Guys, this is a really chaotic episode with the energy level of our cat right now. I'm really sorry.
He's settling down now.
I really hope he's settling down. Should we re-record? Nah, we're too committed to this now. Where was I? Content in the moment? Being content in the moment? Because God's already won your battle, and no matter what the outcome of your wait is, that's a victory, right? Because it's God's plan. And God will use whatever that outcome is for his purposes, for his mission, if you are committed to following him, if you're a believer in Christ. Like, if you are a child of God and you believe Jesus washed your sins clean, God will use your waiting. God will make victories out of tiny grains of sand. Like, there's nothing to fear at all in this life. Waiting makes us stronger because we become okay with the fact that we're weaker. There's strength in letting go of that anxiety, because that's what control, or a false sense of control, gives you. It gives you anxiety, right? Because you're tense, you're high stress when you think that every decision you make, every little micro interaction has that much weight to it. But God's in control. You're not in control. You've never been in control. You might have thought you were in control. This is me talking to myself right now, by the way.
She's talking to me. And you. But one of the best parts about waiting is it's a very humbling experience, and I know that doesn't sound like an enjoyable thing. Being humbled doesn't feel great, but it's a phenomenal way to improve on yourself and to just grow closer with God. And when you are in the waiting, it shows you what your true limitations are. It lets you know as a person, okay, I cannot accomplish all of this on my own. I can't do all of this on my own, on my time. I need to trust in him. I need him to be strong and keep me patient in the waiting.
It's like an invitation to trust in God. Like, it's not like a test, but God's like, hey, I'm giving you this waiting period. What are you going to do with it?
How could God teach you patience if you never had to wait? How could he teach you strength if you were never weak? The only way to grow these fruits of the Spirit is by enduring and getting stronger through them. And patience is one of those fruits that needs to be strengthened.
But as for you, return to your God, hold fast to mercy and justice, and wait on your God continually. Hosea 12:6. The Lord is good to those who wait for him, to the soul who seeks him. Lamentations 3:25. Psalms 130:5. I wait for the Lord, my whole being waits, and in his word I put my hope. Just drop some bars on you guys. There are so many stories of people waiting in the Bible. Abraham and Sarah waited for a baby for like 100 and something years. What was Sarah when she got pregnant? Like, I don't know how old she was,
80,
but she was
90?
like 80 or 90. Like, defying the laws of everything, you know? Like, the laws that we think that we can follow here on earth, that everything has to fit within these boxes. Now, God breaks those boxes. God will break those boxes that are confining your weight because he is Lord. And he is the one omnipresent God who can do it all, who sees it all, who knows it all, who's already figured it all out. So stop stressing, because there is nothing to be gained from it, because you're not in control. And we're being really repetitive, but it's really just because we're repeating these mantras for ourselves, because we are constantly in waiting periods, guys, literally all the time. Like, I just got a job offer, right? Still in a waiting period for something. Like, you can never escape the wait, but the wait makes us strong and invites us to that place of contentment that can defy all circumstances, because it helps us to see that God is working and that his love is being revealed and he's giving us grace when we need it the most. And be content in your wait. What are you doing with your weight? Are you trusting God, or are you turning to fear? Are you turning to anxiety? Are you turning to control? Just gonna let that siren go by. What an interrupted, filled episode. Like, we can't, guys. Gotta get out of this apartment. We're waiting for a quieter place to live. We're waiting for Gravy to outgrow his kitten phase.
And it's funny because in all that waiting, previously we were waiting for our own apartment, which we have now. So we're content, but we're always waiting for that next thing.
The grass is always greener, man.
Right?
Well, unless you have any final thoughts, Sam, I think that's the episode.
Plenty of waiting to come. Plenty of waiting to come.
Those
waiting
are
for
bars.
more right now, and we'll be waiting for more in the future. But what matters is that we don't need to wait to be happy. We can be happy and joyful now, because you know that the waiting is working towards something at all times.
Because he is working, and he is good to those who love him.
Amen.
Romans 8:28. Well, we thank you for joining this episode. We are apologetic for how chaotic it is, because, guys, this cat and these sounds outside our window, we're struggling. But we thank you so much for bearing with it all. We are waiting for that quieter situation, and we'll get there one day. But we invite you to join us next week on Two Trees in a Pod. Next Tuesday, we'll be coming at you with another episode, and we hope you have a great rest of your week, and stay blessed.